Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video, I am working in a different sketchbook than I've been doing recently. This sketchbook was made for me by my friend Spofgh, and it contains various different kinds of paper. I've used this before, but it's been a while, so if you are interested in seeing the ones I briefly showcased by accident as I was flipping through the sketchbook as I was opening it, I believe those are both videos on this channel. Though I could be mistaken. I think they're both on here. But anyway, this paper is from Paul Rubens, I believe. It is a glittery paper. It's 100% cotton, but in the paper making process, some sort of glitter or shimmer agent was used, and it's embedded in the paper. So as you're painting on it, the glitter doesn't come off. It doesn't add texture to the paper. It's still a very smooth paper. I think it's technically hot press, but yeah, it still performs basically like a cotton paper. It even handles some lifting pretty well, but it has this really cool glittery effect. And the last time I used it in the sketchbook, I was trying to think of things that might showcase that well, and the idea of a snowy scene kind of came to my mind, or maybe someone recommended it. I'm not sure. It's been a long time. And then I never did anything with that. I do have a little tiny sketchbook that uses the same paper, so I have some animals in there. I think those are also on this channel, at least a couple of them. But I decided that since it's getting colder, I felt like doing kind of a snowy elf, and doing it on this paper just sounded like a fun idea. Now, I didn't get to do everything I wanted to with this one. That's like my go-to line, I think, at this point. And I also kind of forgot what I was doing way too early on in the process. Initially, I'd wanted to do more of a background, and that would highlight the character a little better because I did want him to have like whitish hair. And I really struggle with that. Like, I love like white haired characters, but I have a hard time doing like the eyebrows and the eyelashes because probably I don't use dark enough colors, and so they don't show up well. But in any case, like, I struggled with this anyway, and some of it was just the format. It wasn't so much the paper. The paper is glittery, and that is a little distracting, but you tend to tune it out after a little bit. But because I wanted to paint this really long format, I didn't really consider that my desk wasn't well suited for it. And when I was painting the face, it was just so far away that I had a hard time, especially the eyes. And the eyes, when I start painting them, are really wonky and I couldn't really see well. And then once I do finally get them fixed, like, I go back to them a couple times. But when I actually do get to the point where like they're looking better, the footage was corrupted. So I lost a little bit of footage where I actually fixed it. I mean, my head may have been also slightly in the shot, but I don't know. Something's going on with my, I think it's actually the memory card, because yeah, it wasn't really, that section wasn't really corrupted. It started recording and it looked fine. I checked it and I got to painting, and then all of a sudden I looked up and the camera says the memory card is locked, which is an issue I've had with this memory card in this camera before. Like, same memory card, different camera, didn't have the issue. Different memory card, same camera, this camera didn't have the issue. So I put tape over it and it seems to, like, okay, it tricks it. It's like taping an old floppy back in the day, but it worked. But it just started acting up. And then another section I was filming actually did get corrupted. And it wasn't anything like where you lost a lot. It was just a couple. Once I started up, I started filming again, and then I paused it just to like look at the footage to make sure it was okay, and it just couldn't be found. Now, I usually export a quick version of the video, so when I record the voiceover, I'm watching the painting so I can point out things as I go. But even that didn't work. Shotcut is throwing a ton of errors, and it just kind of stopped about 2/3 of the way in, and I tried to do another job, and it kind of got stuck, and I was like, you know what, let me just try to record the voiceover. I know how long the video is going to be, and hopefully it exports, because that would be very disappointing if I get everything all ready to go and I can't export it. But okay. Yeah, so I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, technology issues. Good times. But yeah, even just the space on the desk, I had to zoom out enough where you can see beyond my little like backdrop. And I actually had to, because the way the camera's situated, I couldn't put it back quite as far as I wanted to, so I had to zoom out a little bit more. Actually, like I said, I wanted to do a little bit more of a backdrop initially, so I was showing more of the sketchbook, and I realized you could see my legs in the footage, which I know is so scandalous, but mostly it was just distracting because I fidget a lot, so we didn't need that. So just crop that off. But yeah, you can see like the really bad adhesive job I did there and how it's bubbling up. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful desk. But anyway, so yeah, the theme of this one was kind of a wintry elf. I initially planned where I have a little round piece of tape in his hand. I had wanted that to be like a light source, like a little will-o-wisp. I'm losing my words. A little light source, but as I started painting, I somehow completely forgot that that was my plan, so I just invented a new light source and went with it. And so I ended up making it like a snowball instead in the long run, because sometimes you just gotta pivot. So like if he's pulling all of the falling snow that's landing on him into the snowball and keeping it off of him, because at some point you just have to figure something else out. I did want to try avoiding using like gouache or too much like even white gouache just for highlights, because if you use a more opaque medium, you're going to cover the shimmer effect of the paper. But I ended up having to use some, and that's okay. It's just not as sparkly there. And like I said, I definitely had issues with the face. Part of it just being that it was too far away, and then as you know, that angle is pretty rough both for vision and for perspective, so I was struggling. And in the long run, like I that's why I showed it first, because this one was off to a rough start. Plus when I get through the first clip of filming, it wasn't I wasn't planning to stop, but my husband comes over and goes, "Did you give the cat her meds?" And it's like, "No." And we like just somehow I decided it was painting time and completely forgot to do the things I was supposed to do. Whoops. So had to work our way back to getting on schedule. But it's okay. And yeah, I don't know. I was a little scatterbrained, and I think that shows by the fact I forgot about the light source for this painting. I feel silly about that. But yeah, so what else is going on in this one? Well, I'm using the Gallo paints. I haven't used them as much recently, and I really have been wanting to pull them back out because I do really love them. One thing though that I have to keep in mind is that the blue, like instead of an ultramarine, it's Yinmin blue, which is absolutely stunning. It does granulate a lot, so when I use it, especially for skin tone mixtures, things get that granulation, and when I'm not prepared for it, I just make mistakes. So that was part of me being out of the habit. But when I remembered how many of these paints have really beautiful granulation, I decided to feature that for the shirt. There's a color, and I think it's nocturnal, but it's basically like a moon glow type of color. It's a mix with really pretty granulation, and I decided to kind of use that for the shirt just to really feature the granulation, since I was trying to mask it in other places. I really wanted to let it shine in one place. And then the jacket, I wasn't originally planning on keeping it all white, but at some point it became a timing thing, since I didn't get back to painting after giving the cat medicine because I was all thrown off and feeling bad about it and trying to make it up to her because she also knew something was up, I think. Yeah, I didn't get back to painting that night, so I kind of had to finish it the next night, and I was tired and wanted to go to bed, so got a bit of a rush job there at the end, but that's okay. I think this video is a little long. I said I knew how long this video was, and I'm quickly proving to myself I don't know how long it is. Otherwise, the brushes are pretty much the usual for me. It's the Tintoretto brushes, which I actually discovered through a Gallo. When you buy a little palette, they send you a little travel brush, or I think a full-size brush if you buy a bigger palette. And I really love that travel mop. So I bought a couple more mops, and they're still my favorite brushes. I consider I know Polina Bright's brushes are really popular, and when I saw that there was this big Black Friday sale, I'm like, oh, maybe I should check those out. But it was still like a $20 brush with like $13 shipping for one brush, and it's just like, no, I'm gonna stick with my Tintorettos. I know them, I love them, we're good. Though the smaller mop is looking it's starting to look a little frayed, so I should probably try to reform it. Maybe, dip it in some hot water and get it all straightened out, and then get it in some Master's brush soap to kind of hold it together and see if we could get it back to normal. And if not, one day I'll just replace it. I really noticed the difference when I was using the larger one, and just remembered how beautiful that tip is supposed to be and how easy it is to get smaller marks. I'm clumsy though, so I can't rely on the edge of the brush as much as I would like to, but I'd still like to try to, because currently it has a sharper point than the much smaller brush. I'm trying to remember the sizes. They're on my desk and it's like 2 feet away, but that's just too much effort right now. And then I think for the rigger, I did use the Tintoretto as well. I don't know what series that one is, but that was one of my souvenirs I bought for myself in Italy. I had to get a proper rigger brush. And then my Princeton VelveTouch is it's a really good brush for lifting and smoothing things out. So I always use that one, and I'm amazed by how well that brush has held up, because I've used that for about as long as I've been doing watercolor, and it's still in really good shape. Amazing. And I abuse it because I really mostly use it for lifting at this point. So well done, little VelveTouch. It's definitely a firmer brush, so I don't use it for painting itself, but good job. I feel really weird talking with, I have the footage up on Shotcut, and I could kind of see where I am, occasionally clicking to match up where I am in the voiceover. I just don't know how that's going to work out. So it's too distracting to try to do that. So I'm just winging it. I have no idea what's happening at this point. But yeah, so let's talk rest of the year and moving into next year. So I guess this is the first video of December. For the next one, I should be able to get another one done before the holidays, and then I'll probably take the holidays off because I'll be busy and with family and probably not in town. And I don't really know what that video will be yet. I have some things I'd like to do, but this one was just, I'm motivated to draw a snow elf, so it happened. It wasn't really planned out, but I will not be painting in this format on camera again, this long format. Yeah, so we'll see. No immediate plans there. Going into January, maybe even the next video, I'll try to come up with some goals for the year, because last year I had a goal that was too big and it definitely did not happen. But I'd like to create some more approachable goals this year that hopefully I can work through over the course of next year. Mostly talking about art goals, but maybe I'll have some personal goals by then too. We'll see. Within 2 weeks, I'll probably have accomplished nothing. And then in January, hopefully I'll be able to do the next flip through of my Hobonichi 5-year. It's a little different for this channel because obviously all my videos are art and painting, but that one I use it for a daily sketchbook. It's tiny doodles. It's nothing too fancy, but it is something I'm very proud of because I do keep up with it on a day-to-day basis throughout the year. And while I can't share everything, if you saw the video last year, you know that I had some really ugly censor bars, and it's partly because the paper is so thin that you could see through it. And it has personal stuff because it is a memory book, so I'll have things like friends' names or arrays, so a salary and that type of stuff. Just I feel weird about sharing some medical stuff, so we'll see. That one, because I have to censor so much, it takes a long time to edit, and I have to go through it multiple times, and then somehow I end up shifting everything and have to figure out what all shifted so it actually covers stuff again. But because that video was fairly popular, I definitely like to show it again. if nobody watched it, I'd probably skip it altogether because it was effort, but I am proud of it and I like it. So yeah, that was a really long tangent. And then beyond that, I'm not sure. We'll see. I do want to get back into gouache painting and also oils. I have something on the easel, so I need to get to that because it is a gift that I'm behind on. And then always watercolor. I love watercolor, so yeah, I'm feeling a bit more motivated lately in a way I haven't been recently. This painting didn't really help because I was getting frustrated, and it was a lot of the external stuff, the lack of time, I forgot to medicate my cat, the camera acting up, and those obviously contribute to frustration. But I've been doing some like getting back to one of my other little sketchbooks, and yeah, it feels good. So definitely want to keep up the momentum while things are positive. And also because the days are shorter, I have more time to record because I can start filming at like 6 o'clock instead of waiting till like in the summer, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then I'm just tired. So way more tired. So, yeah, another thing I did include another clip of Juno, my cat, who, like I said, she's on medicine. If you're new here or haven't seen the prior videos, she is going through chemo and she's doing really well on it. So it is small cell lymphoma. It has a really good prognosis. She just went to the vet today and had her blood work, and I'm sorry, I probably should put content warning, but her blood work's looking really good. So we're actually trying to introduce a non-hydrolyzed protein food because I really don't think the food has done much for her. She's been on it for 3 months. She clearly doesn't like it. And if it's not making her feel better, it doesn't seem to be a value to keep forcing her to eat it. So I got some limited ingredient diet food today and I gave her a little bit and she was so excited. So it's nice to see her excited about food again. So hopefully we're able to transition her into a new food that makes her happier, because that's more important than keeping her on something just to check a box. Yep, she's on this hydrolyzed diet. So yeah, I got a little video clip of her playing. She has these like little, I don't know what they're called, those latex bracelets, and she just loves this thing. So yeah, I guess I'll leave you with Juno. I hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves, and have a great end of the year. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate, or just happy end of the year. And I hope to see you in a future video. Take care. Bye.